Let's see. Live preparing. We are live. I'm going to record
Hello.
it. I'm going to record it just in case.
Okay.
But it says that we're live, so we're live. One of my heroes in the entire world, Anita
Oh,
Wardell. Welcome to You've Got Mel.
thank you, Mel. It's lovely to be here. Great to see you as well.
We're doing an early bird version because you are far away. Doesn't anybody live in one place anymore?
It says Carol King. Exactly. No, I live a long way away. Yes, I do. In a little town called Adelaide, little city called Adelaide.
Adelaide. Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Adelaide.
Ever loving Adelaide.
It says here,
A
it's so
poison
great.
could develop a cold.
It's so wonderful to have you on the show. You know that you're one of my heroes. You're
Well,
a
that's
really famous, accomplished, wonderful, amazing international jazz singer, and you changed my life.
well, Mel. That's a responsibility, isn't it? But
It is. It
thank you
is.
for saying that. I really, really feel very warmed, heart warmed to hear that. Thank you so much. It's lovely.
We should thank Alan Cinnamon,
We
who,
should.
well, we are. Alan, thank you very much, who organized my first lesson with you. I
Yeah.
actually flew from Tel Aviv to London to spend an hour and a half with you. Musically speaking, the best hour and a half of my life. You are
Well,
like a music surgeon. You're,
I
you're like
well,
an internist. You 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 look down somebody's throat and vocal cords into their diaphragm, and you make wonderful diagnoses. And the things you taught me, I recorded it. I played it for years until the cassette went out of business. I wrote it every time I performed. I had like five things that Anita taught me.
beautiful.
Just so you know.
Well, that's really lovely to know. It's always good to hear that you've helped somebody along the way. You don't always know. You know what I
Help
mean?
me.
When you
You
do.
you changed my singing voice, my career. I made two jazz albums afterwards. You're
That's right.
incredible. You
And
are
you
incredible.
you didn't play the piano like you do now back then. So I mean, I'm
I
pretty
didn't.
amazed at piano playing as well. I mean, you've really did you teach yourself or did you
That's a long
study?
story, but this show is about you.
Okay, that's cool.
So we're going to do the jingle, and then you're going
Yes.
to tell me about your wonderful life between the two ends of the world.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready for the jingle?
Yes.
We have to have the jingle. Can't do it without the jingle. Here we go, jingle.
Get a chair, grab a seat, or we'll sweep you off your feet. We move, we groove, you got Mel. Ease your legs, rest a while, all you gotta do is smile. We're swell, can't you tell you got Mel? When the show begins, you better hold on real tight, or before you know it, you'll be high as a kite. Take a break, settle down, we're the only show in town. It's our road, don't you know you got Mel? Give it up, don't think twice, we're a hurricane on ice. What the hell, give a yell, ring your bell, show and tell. Mademoiselle, give a smell, you got Mel. You've got Mel.
And Mel has Anita Wardell.
Yes.
We even rhyme. So Anita, start at the beginning. Your parents, your life. Um, Tell us everything.
Okay. So I was born in the UK in the town of Guildford in Surrey, maybe I don't know 45 minutes out of London. And then my dad was a welder at a company called Lancing and Bagnall in the UK, and my mum started off as an auxiliary nurse, and well, before that she actually did hairdressing, but then she went to auxiliary nursing. I have a brother and I have a sister, and of course now since I've gotten older, the family's grown as they do. But we lived in Guildford for a little while, and then we sort of swung between a place called Purley in Surrey and Basingstoke. So pretty much I grew up in Basingstoke till I was 11, and then my dad had this brainwave to emigrate to Australia. So being 11, I just started high school in the UK, and then he whisked us off to sunnier climes, and we settled in Adelaide, which is a beautiful city in South Australia, and we're kind of like most of the cities are built on the coast, the coastline of Australia, southeast coastline. So anyway, when we first got here, it was just like a massive culture shock. Couldn't believe it, you know. Before we
Anita,
actually,
Anita, hold on, dear.
yes,
Your parents are British.
my father was born in India.
Okay.
His father was English and his mother was half Portuguese and half Scottish. So we
Wow.
have, so there's this kind of mix, bit of Anglo-Indian, Anglo-Portuguese, kind of thing. Mum was born in England, but her father was Irish and her mother was English. So I've got a few kind of mixes in me.
You're everything except Jewish, you know?
I don't know, maybe I am Jewish. I don't know. Maybe I've got a bit from far back when.
You sing a lot of songs that are written by Jewish people.
Well, I know, but they're the best, aren't they? They're great. I love them.
Yeah, we'll
So
get to that.
anyway, yeah,
But one second, we
yeah.
can't we cannot just jump over this kangaroo business.
Oh no, we're
So
not. I've got to tell you about
no, so
Australia.
well, your dad just he woke up one morning and he said, "Oh, Australia, that's the place I got to be. I'm gonna uproot
Well,
my wife and take my kids out of school and move."
yes,
And he put his finger on the map of Australia and he
hmm
closed his eyes and boop, Adelaide.
yes. Well, basically, he did. I think he had some friends at work that said that they were going to do it. They were going to emigrate to Australia, and so I think he was inspired by that. But also, he was hoping that we would get a good education in a more relaxed kind of place, and he also had been offered a job, so he got a job. His company that he worked with, the firm that he worked with, said, look, we can get you work there.
Ah, okay.
um, and we were able to get the £10 passage. That's what we did. We were like, the parents go for £10 and the kids go for free. So that's what we did. So we went over on a huge ship, this Greek liner called the Ellenus.
You went
four
on a
weeks,
ship to Australia.
at 11. We spent Christmas on this ship.
You're like Sir Francis Drake.
Oh, hello. I know. And we saw flying dolphins and flying, like all flying fish and beautiful dolphins in the sea. And we had that. There was a lot of seasickness in between because my stomach was a bit kind of wonky. And it was the most amazing 4 weeks of our lives. We went to school. They had a cinema on this ship. I mean, this was back in like 1972. So, Dad had actually thought about going before in the late 60s, but he kind of like stopped that idea. And then when it came up again, he thought he'd better take the chance because he wasn't sure how long it was going to kind of like be offered. And they were advertising on TV, move to Australia, emigrate to Australia. And obviously, it needed populating. So he just said, "How do you feel?" Mum didn't want to go. Um, us kids didn't really know any better. We just did what we were told, of course. Yeah, but Mum kind of took a long time to settle when we first got here. So anyway, let me tell you about the trip, right? So we spent 4 weeks on the ship. We all had to go to school and learn about kangaroos and koalas and echidnas, all the kind of native animals, platypuses and that. We had to draw pictures of them, and I must say, my pictures weren't very good. I don't think would have been a good artist. But anyway, so it was okay. We finally got to the other side of the world. We stopped at Rotterdam, the Canary Islands, India, and then Fremantle. So we stopped on the west coast of Australia. We got out, and it was absolutely stifling hot. We had known nothing like it, and we were all there, like this, didn't know what had hit us. Mum had already made up her mind that she wasn't sure if she was happy to be there. So we had to get on this train and train it to the other side of Australia to a place called Melbourne. And there we got another train from Melbourne to Adelaide. And then when we got to the train station, we were met by this company called RDC. I've forgotten what it stands for, but it was a company that put you up in these flats when you first arrive, and then they try and help you buy a house, okay? Or you don't have to live with in one of their houses. You can just, go and find your own. So we started to look for houses, and we found our own, and then we finally settled into our home. It took a long time for everyone to settle, But I remember this little story when I first got there, and we were living in these flats on this road that looked like a dusty road, like nothing for miles, the odd car and just dust flying afterwards. And my mum said, "Oh, I just pop up the road to the shop," And I don't know what it must have, it was just really bizarre because this guy was walking down the road and he shouted out, "Pom, whinging Pom." I don't know, I was like 12 and I just got there, So I thought, oh no, the Australians are not very friendly. I'd made my mind up that the Australians weren't friendly after that. So anyway, Dad, Dad just sort of like informed us that a few people probably would say some funny things to us because we looked a bit different, and it was very strange.
What does whinging Pom mean?
Oh, there's this thing called the whinging pom. It's like apparently when the Poms came over to Australia, it would just be like, "Oh, it's not like England, is it? Oh, the tea's not very good. Oh, yeah, the tea bags taste a bit like dishwater." It was just whinging about everything, Oh, a bit hot over here, isn't it? And it was just like nobody was ever like happy with anything that they had,
Those kangaroos, those kangaroos sure can kick.
They can, and like sometimes we were just like hanging out, walking down the street, and the odd kangaroo would be just hopping down the road. Not always, but sometimes you would just get one that had come down from the hills, and that happened to me about 2 years ago as well. I was driving. The thing about Adelaide is that as soon as 5 o'clock comes, it's like a fast forward movie. There's no one around. And then there was just this kangaroo just going da-doing, da-doing, da-doing down the road. It's very sweet, but it was like, wow, that's a bit weird, not used to that. Not the hustle bustle of London, and then you come home and you see the odd kangaroo. It's quite the antithesis of.
So Anita, did you become an Australian eventually?
I'm an Australian citizen, and I've also got my UK passport. So
I mean in your heart.
Yeah, I'm torn. Both places are home. They really are. So anyway, once we moved to our house, we got settled in and we started to get, integrate, and it was great, It was amazing.
Okay, so let's move on now to your singing career. When did you? I thought your parents were musicians.
No, but my dad's got a good singing voice. He sings. My dad's taste of music is Elvis Presley and Cliff Richard and a bit of like people like Roy Orbison. He likes all that, and he likes a bit of jazz. A lot of Dad's records were sort of like a mixed kind of taste, but he had this Reader's Digest box set of all the big bands, so he loved that. So I was listening to that, and he had loads of Ella and Louis. He loved all that as well. So I used to just like raid his record collection.
It's the best, isn't it? Isn't Ella and Louis the best?
I love them. So inspired by everything that's come before me. That's built my love and my inspiration for the music, and it sort of feeds everything that I do. Because to me, it's history, isn't it? But just to say that's what started me off. And then when I went to high school, we had a great music department, and so I got involved in music there. And I was just singing kind of middle of the road stuff. And then I found out about jazz when I was 17.
Wow.
When I went to uni, yeah. And my teacher gave me a big pile of records that kind of like ranged from John Coltrane, Miles Davis, John Coltrane ballads, Miles Davis Kind of Blue, Charlie Parker with strings, Sarah Vaughan live at Ronnie Scott's, Betty Roche with Duke Ellington Orchestra, and Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass singing the album Take Love Easy, which is amazing.
Anita,
So
you're giving me goosebumps.
yeah,
So
well, I studied them.
when you heard as a young 17-year-old
Yeah.
Sarah Vaughan at Ronnie Scott's, did you imagine yourself at Ronnie Scott's one day?
Oh no, I didn't. No, never. I didn't think I'd ever. I thought, oh God, I'm never going to be as good as that. I aspired to everything that I listened to, because I was a very, I felt my nerves were really bad when I was young. I had a bad case of nerves when I sang, and I had this awful kind of nervous reaction that I would gulp in the middle of songs. I mean, I used to be embarrassed about it, but I'm not embarrassed about it anymore, because I'm sure lots of people have, ways of showing their nerves. Mine was that. Mine was physical, and it actually came out in my singing. So it took ages and ages and ages for that to kind of subside.
Wow.
But I worked through it because the music was so strong for me. I mean, it was like that wasn't going to stop me from trying to improve, at least, at the very least improve. So anyway,
now's a good time for you to sing a song, I think.
Oh, do you think so? Okay.
Yeah, so the world can see why you're so brilliant and wonderful.
Oh, that's very nice.
And on my program, you can even gulp if you want to.
Okay.
Okay. Try and do it between the 4 and the 1, so nobody will notice.
Right, I'm going to stick it up to a nice bright tempo. I'm going to sing "It Could Happen to You."
Oh,
okay. I'm going
one
to give
of
myself.
my favorites.
Oh, there you go. I'm going to give myself an intro. Okay. Is this can you hear it? Let's see. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Hide your heart from sight. Lock all your dreams at night. 'Cause it could happen to you. Don't count stars, or you might stumble. Someone drops a sign, right on down you tumble. Keep a little eye on spring, run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I ever did was wonder how your arms would be, and then it happened to me. Come on and hide your heart from sight. Lock all your dreams at night, 'cause it could happen to you. Don't count stars, or you might stumble. Someone drops a sign, and down you tumble. Keep an eye on the spring, run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I ever did was wonder how your arms would be, and then it happened. Come on and hide your heart from sight. Lock your dreams at night. 'Cause it could happen to you. Don't count stars, or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh, and down you tumble, down you tumble. But if my heart spring from when church bells ring, 'cause it could happen, it could happen to you. All I ever did was wonder how your arms would be. And then it happened, then it happened, then it happened to me. Yay! Woo!
Incredible. And what a
Oh,
song.
it's a great tune, isn't it? It's a really good tune. I
So
love it.
I have a bunch of questions. So so you started the singing jazz,
Hmm.
and did you start scatting at the beginning, or was it something that developed?
So, okay, so the college that I was at when the teacher gave me all the records, there was there were two girls in the room next door, and actually I saw one of them yesterday. I've been friends with them for all my life. Not that I've seen them, or we haven't always been in touch, but we just meet up. You know what it's like with old friends, and you just catch up where you left off. I remember both their names. One was Kay Linden, and one was Janet Van Ruwick. And later, when she got married, her name was Janet Ledbetter. I heard in the middle of the theory class, and I loved theory so much. You know, I loved the music theory. I heard these Janet and Kay singing a Dizzy Gillespie tune called Burke's Works. You know, sta do ba do de do de do 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 da da. Anyway, and I heard this, I could hear this through the wall of the theory class. So I couldn't wait for the class to end. As much as I loved it, I ran out and I looked through the window in the hallway in the room, and I saw Kay and Janet both scatting to this Burke's Works, the changes, minor blues. So I waited very patiently until the class finished. And Eric Bryce, the guy that gave me the bunch of records, I said to him, "What were those girls doing? What were they doing? I want to do that. I want to do that for the rest of my life." I kind of had an epiphany, just like in the hallway at this door. So anyway, he said, "Oh, that's scat singing. It's like vocal improvising." "Oh, please, I want to do it. Can you teach me?" So that's when, you know, like he got me to sing with his little small band, which was wonderful, like piano, bass, and drums. So we did that for a while, and then he could see that I was just like loving it, and I immersed myself in it, and I wanted to be good, and and he said, "You know what? I don't think this university," and of course the jazz choir director was in on it too, and said, "This college is like to train to be a teacher." Not that I ever dreamt that I would be a teacher later on in life, but he said, "I think you should go to the jazz course in the city of Adelaide." The Adelaide University, which was then part of the college, had this jazz course. So I went and auditioned at the jazz course, and there my journey started really. So there was myself and another vocalist that started, just two of us, and loads of instrumentalists, which I now know was the best thing that ever happened to me, because we didn't really have a full-time vocal jazz teacher at the university. We had some really great classical teachers that helped us with technique, which was great. And we had a beautiful singer who I'm still friends with today, and I still see, a lady called Penny Eames. And she was wonderful. She could phrase like nobody's business. So she came in every so often and gave us kind of a stylistics lesson, whatever you call it. You know, like taught us how to do the back phrasing thing, and how to delay and how to anticipate. Best lessons. We loved them. We couldn't have wished for more. But after a while, that stopped, and the other girl that was doing the course left, and so then I was on my own on the jazz course, and I just studied with all the instrumentalists, and that is what got me to love scatting and want to be the sort of scat singer that I am, which is very instrumentally based.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
what I wanted to ask you this for about 20 years since I met you. Um,
yes.
you are a more sometimes I think that you're a wonderful singer, but you're like a musician. Like you know exactly what you're playing, like a saxophone player. So
Mm.
are scat singers frustrated hornblowers?
Well, funny question, really, isn't it? I guess in a way, if see, the thing is I started learning clarinet, but I didn't love it as much as singing. I felt like I had a kind of a a real sort of emotional connection with the voice, with singing, because I could bend notes in different ways, and it just for me, I just chose voice, and I just wanted to be good on the voice, and so I had those instrumentalists there. So in a way, I had no choice but to study it via the instrumental path.
Uh-huh. So it was always the voice. Listen, I
Yeah,
can be I can be wrong,
no, not necessarily. I don't think you are.
It,
I
it,
think some
it,
people are
it's my
frustrated.
it's my program, and I'm a professor, and sometimes I'm wrong. It's okay.
No,
But
I don't think.
one of the
I
great
don't think.
things about your singing is that it's so bloody musical.
Well, that's
And
lovely. That's what I
and
aim for.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so and we want to go back to Ella at the beginning, who
Mm,
um who couldn't read music,
mm,
and it sure didn't stop her. I'm always in awe of these people.
yeah. I think with Ella, it was innate in her. I mean, obviously she started off as a dancer, but when she went into that competition at the Apollo, and someone said, "Sing, sing," and she sang. I mean, it was just it was meant to be, wasn't it? It was like it was fate. Fate stepped in, and that was it. And she was just amazing from the beginning. Not a note out of tune. It's like, amazing. But you see, the thing about scatting, I'd heard so many bad things about scatting. Oh, singers shouldn't scat, and I kind of like, I thought, how can something so exciting to do be so awful, and why doesn't everyone love it like I do? I was heartbroken. I thought it was like the worst thing in the world. That
I love it when you do it.
oh
I would never scat in front of an audience.
wow. But I've
It's
been accused and criticised for scatting too much. But I love it so much, Mel. I can't help it. It's just like it's part of what I am really as a singer.
you have a scatiction.
Yeah, skitiction. Yeah, that's right. I do. But um, so when I was at uni, they said to me, "Look, there's no choice. You've got to study the same theoretical and harmony stuff as we do, as the instrumentalists do. Think of yourself as an instrumentalist that sings, a musician that sings." So they try and take this word now. We try not to segregate. You're a musician and you're a singer. This is it's a very it's kind of you know it's just not cool. You know, we're singers are instrumentalists. That's that use their voice, and instrumentalists are instrumentalists, and we're all at different levels, and we're all learning, and we're all trying to find a way to become more musical, more connected to the soul of the music and to the history of the music, and trying to get out what we want to say in a really musical fashion with love and spirit. So I think that's I was lucky that I learned that was the way to go when I was young. But it's still, I still every day battle with the learning of it all, because I'm never going to feel like I'm good enough. And I don't mean that I'm not very good, but I mean that, there's always, you get someone you think,
One
great.
second, Anita, you have imposter syndrome?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I've got, but I just know this. I know that I get to a point where I say, "Oh, I've studied that. That was so interesting. I love it. Oh God, I did that. I did a good job on that." And then I think, okay, next thing,
Ah,
because
that's okay, but I mean, you've
yeah,
played with the world's greatest musicians, and you've appeared all over the world, and you have
yeah.
these amazing albums that I love to listen to. And yeah. So how did you get to Ronnie Scott's? How did you become famous?
Right. Well, you know my dear friend Trudy Kerr, don't you? You know Trudy.
Yes, yes.
Trudy and I used to share a flat together, and then I moved in with her for a while because I had nowhere to stay for a while. And she said, "Oh, look, I've got a spare room. Why don't you come in here?" And Trudy and I met each other in Australia many years ago because we're both Australian and Australian English, whatever, you know.
No, she says that you're English.
Yes, I'm English. She was born in Australia, and I was born in England. But anyway, she's now in England, and I'm now in Australia. So anyway, whatever, we share it. But anyway, Trudy, we met in this singing competition in Australia, and then she went to the UK, and then I moved back to the UK. And she was singing around the traps, and so was I, and we catch up. And then, as I said, I moved in there. And then one day, I think Ronnie Scott came to hear Trudy sing at the 606 club, and he booked her immediately. Anyway, and there was this running joke, like, when's it going to be your turn, Anita? You know what's going to happen. Anyway, I was coming home from teaching one day, walking down the road where we were living, and I could see Trudy like on the road going, hurry up, like she was so excited. And I said, what? She goes, Pete King rang. And Pete King was the guy that kind of booked the people for Ronnie Scott's. He wants you to ring him. And I was going, oh God, So I was so excited. Anyway, I rang him up, and I was really nervous. I was going, hello. And he said, Anita? I said, yeah. And he said, are you free the week of the 16th? And I went, yeah. He said, good, you got a week at Ronnie's. Put the phone down. It was just like really quick, matter of fact and stuff like that. I put the phone down, and Trudy was jumping up and down. And I was like rolling around and like, I got my first gig at Ronnie Scott's. And the first time I did it, it was opposite James Moody. It was amazing. So I did Ronnie Scott's opposite James Moody. I did Ronnie Scott's opposite Joe Zawinul. He was the nicest man. I loved him so much. He was good. I did Ronnie Scott's opposite Joe Lovano. I did Ronnie Scott's opposite Curtis Fuller. And a few more, And it was just like the highlight of my life. Because what you do is you'd get a week there. And so the British bands would go on first, and then the American guys would do the second set. And it was like a real institution. It was like, at the end of that week, you were so like in sync with your band. It was absolutely blinking amazing. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So I felt that was lucky. Yeah.
So when you are singing scat, now you're completely uninhibited, and there's no jazz police. But when you're in front of a huge crowd at Ronnie Scott's, and I was there listening to you, and I saw how packed it was. And there's people who are jazz mavens, whatever that means, and all kinds of people there. And are you able to like really improvise, really go nuts?
Well, that's a good question, because Pete King wasn't a fan of ooby doobly, that's what he called it. And he would always say, but he said to me he didn't mind it when I did it, because, it was okay. But he told me off for other things, which was really funny.
What?
But
What did you do?
no, but in a nice way. It was like the lessons that you had to learn, like, do not drink a glass of water out of a pint glass on stage. You have to drink out of a wine glass, which was, but he was trying to make me, look professional, and I get that. But he didn't mind me scatting, but I was very careful. I didn't scat on every number, but there was room for me to be able to express myself using scat language, which was really good. Yeah.
So,
I loved it.
This is the question.
Yeah.
I was disappointed. I came to jazz relatively late.
Right.
And I thought that when musicians and singers improvise on records and it shows, they're really improvising. And quite often, their improvisations are very similar to the improvisations they did yesterday and last week and a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, good. Because the thing is this is what I believe. You've got to kind of learn the language of the music. And so there are so many ways to do that. One is to kind of transcribe, learn things, and and they kind of start filtering in into your own playing. So say you go around and you learn a ba ba do ba do bub stibby ba da bub. You do all these licks around certain progressions and patterns to kind of get the language into your system, and you can learn those things. So you can always pull them out. If like for instance, if you go through a tricky spot in the song, like and you think, oh God, how am I going to get through those changes? You could pull these kind of things out. I think that's one level of improvising, very valid. And yes, there's lots of licks in my scat, and I can hear them, and I'm singing like those kind of licks that go over a 2-5-1 or a 3-6-2-5. So you will hear a lot of that, and you might think, oh, but I heard something like that in the last tune. So there are things, and there are certain tricks and things that we have in our bag that we use. I think what we aim for as a good improviser is to get to the next level where, yes, we've learnt all that, but you move on a step and you don't think about it so much. You've practiced it so much. You understand how to develop melodic ideas, how to sing over the chord changes and understand the harmony, and sing a 2-5 upper semitone and be able to pitch some notes that are not just diatonic or just kind of lugging it with your ear. You actually really are trying to what we call outline changes, but not on the level where you're sort of kind of doing well-known licks and patterns that kind of get you around it. Because yes, you can do it and it sounds good because the notes fit, but you want to get out there where you can take risks and where you can kind of and it's not every note is right. Sometimes you sing a duff note, but then it's the recovery process. How do you recover from that when you're up there thinking on your feet? And like also it's to do with how the instrumentalists are accompanying you. Like my favorite piano player that I play with is Robin Asplund. I absolutely love his playing, and if he's going don't go and then he goes and he'll go like something outside of the note, so then it's up to me to either go with that or not, or go somewhere else, but not just stick to something that I feel safe with. I think improvising is about always taking risks, always going for the higher level and the higher good of the music, but not playing safe all the time. Sometimes in the beginning you do, I think. I mean, I still play very safe, but
No,
sometimes if I'm tired, I don't.
I think you're marvelous. The other thing that frightens me as a musician is
Mm,
waiting, and the one is here, the beginning of the bar,
yeah.
and you can either play or you can wait. And
Mm,
I see that you wait a lot, which is spectacular because people like me say, oy vey, if I don't play something now,
mm,
people are,
yeah.
I could lose it. After the one, there's the two and the three and the four. You're still not coming in, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I think it's like if you think of a story, not so that you don't concentrate on the music, but if you think of like when you speak to somebody, this is why I do a lot of exercises with my students. If I go, when I first meet you, if I say, hey Mel, how's it going? Then I leave you space to go, oh, thanks for asking, Anita. I'm great. Oh, that's great, Mel, and so on and so forth. If I just went, hey man, how you going? Are you great? Oh yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, I heard last week that you did such and such. And that's what some people's solos are like. Because, they don't wait for those spaces. And I think you've got to wait for the space because I imagine that someone's answering me. I mean,
Yeah, but
I'm saying that.
the same thing exactly as a conversation
Yeah, of
where you
course.
ask me something and I don't answer immediately, and
Yeah.
that can be something very good. But a lot of people will interpret this as something or other. Um,
Yeah,
I
cool.
want, I'd love you to sing another song, and then I want to ask you about the Beatles.
About the Beatles.
Yeah,
Okay. What do you want? A little ballad or something?
no, you've got Mel, Anita. This is your show.
Oh, okay.
Once
Let's
I
have a
be
look.
but before, okay. So let me ask you before you choose a song.
Yeah.
Um, Sheila Jordan was on the program.
Oh, yeah. Love her. What an
An
inspiration.
incredible lady. And I asked her about the songs from the what we call the Great American Songbook, the standards of jazz
Yeah,
that we've loved to sing for the last 80 years.
yeah.
If you had to pick one thing that makes a
Mm.
song immortal, what would it be? I give a whole course on this, by the way. If you had to pick
Mm.
one factor,
Telling the story.
hmm?
Telling the story.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
shit, yes.
Yeah.
I spent a whole semester talking about popular music,
Mm.
because there's so many different parameters that you could look at.
Yeah.
And
Because
then,
yeah.
and then one of the students asked me, "Well, isn't it about song having 3 or 4 chords?" And I said, "Oh no." And I took a song from like a popular song called "Alone Again Naturally," which has like a
Oh, yeah.
million chords.
I know that song. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said this song has like 17 chords, and it's sung by not the best singer in the world, and he didn't have that many hits, and everybody knows the song. And then I said to myself, "Oh shit, yeah, it's because it tells a story." So I
Mm.
changed like the whole chorus, but you answered me like in half a minute. A
Yeah.
song has to tell a story, and then
Yeah.
you have to deliver the story.
That's right. Yeah. You have to with your soul and with your being. Yeah. You have to tell the
So
story.
so sing us another story. Anita, turn down the accompaniment a tiny bit so we can hear your voice better.
It's a little bit loud, was it? All right, good. Okay. I'm just going to find a nice little song. Let me just go into it. Okay, right.
So before you do that, what I wanted to ask you is, if you had to pick one song, one
Oh,
composer, or a set of composers,
yes.
what would it
Right.
what would it be?
Oh, God, that's really hard. That is really hard. That's like asking me, who do I like better, my mum or my dad?
Okay, we
um,
won't ask that. Okay, so Irving Berlin, best song of Irving Berlin.
um, I like um, by myself. I'll
Okay,
go
wonderful.
by myself. Yeah.
Sheila
Yeah.
Jordan, like let's face the music and dance.
Yeah, that's beautiful as well. Let's
Okay,
face the music.
Cole
Yeah.
Porter, best song.
Cole Porter best song. I concentrate on you.
Oh yeah, wa da 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 do dee dee dee.
Yeah,
Oh
I love that. Yeah,
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 I would
yeah.
probably pick, the chain from Major. Every time we say goodbye.
Oh, every time I say goodbye, yeah, that's beautiful too. Yeah. Oh,
Gershwin, best song of Gershwin.
best song of Gershwin. I could cry salty tears. Where have I been all these years? Hey, I'll sing that. Shall I? I'll do
Yeah,
that.
these are great. This is a great story song,
Yeah.
huh?
How
But
long?
huh? How long has
Okay.
this been going on?
Yeah. Oh, these chord changes are a bit naff. Okay. Okay,
You
this
can
bit I
sing
can't.
another song.
I'm
I
gonna go
didn't
back to
ask
the.
you. I didn't ask you about Duke Ellington. I didn't.
I'm gonna
We
go
could
back
go
to the other.
on
I know
and on.
exactly. I'm gonna do Duke Ellington song. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What is it? Oh yeah, In My Solitude. There we go.
Oh,
That's my favourite song of Duke Ellington. Okay, come on, Jazz. Where are you? In My Solitude. Oh, In My Solitude. Here
I
we go.
love the bridge of that song.
Oh, it doesn't want to come up. Hold on. I have to try again. In my. I'm always looking. Oh, I think it's just called Solitude. Actually, there it is. Yeah. Okay. Right. I've got it. Right. We ready? I'll
I'm
just do
ready.
it. I'll just do it once through.
Okay.
Okay. Intro. Okay. In my solitude, you haunt never die. I sit in my chair, I'm filled with despair. There ain't no one who could feel this bad. With gloom everywhere, sitting I stare. You know I'll soon go mad in my solitude. I'm praying, dear Lord above, send me back my love. Send me back my love.
Wow,
There we go.
amazing. And now on to the Beatles.
Okay, go on.
You do Beatles.
I don't, but I have done, if you know what I mean. I have sung, Norwegian Wood. Gareth Lecraine did an amazing arrangement of that one year at the Loire Summer School that I used to teach on. And it was really nice. Beautiful version of that. I love listening to the Beatles, very nostalgic, reminds me of growing up, and I've heard Sarah Vaughan's album and lots of the great artists' albums on the Beatles songs, but I wouldn't say that I was a singer of the Beatles songs, not really.
Do you have a favorite song? I'm asking you these difficult questions.
That's fine. There's a couple of songs I love. I like Here, There, and Everywhere.
Ah,
It's
that's my
beautiful.
favorite.
Yeah, I really love that. It's very nice. Yeah, one of my favorites. What else do I like? And I also like, we used to sing it at uni. I was alone, I took a ride, I didn't know that one,
What I would
God,
find
yeah. And
there.
another one that's beautiful is something in the way she moves. That's nice as well. Yeah, a couple of
Um,
beautiful ones there.
and
Quite
my last question for today. Are you
okay.
are you having any fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm having the best fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about. I have a theory. I have a
Right.
theory. I'm the only person who has this theory so far.
Right.
And that is that everybody can sing, but not
Hmm.
everybody can keep time.
Right.
Shall
Yeah.
I explain to you why I hold this theory?
Yeah. Please, I'd be interested. Yeah.
Okay. You have like in Brazil, how many people? 300 million people?
Hmm.
Okay, and they all speak like this. Se você disser que Deus o fino amor, saiba que isto em mim provoca imensa dor. They're singing while they're talking to you.
That's right. Yes.
So when you speak a language and your voice is going up and down, you're actually singing.
Yeah. You are.
But not everybody knows how to keep time.
Mm.
So this is my theory. Never been tested. It's not COVID, dear. Um, so this remains, this is uncharted territory. I think that everybody can learn to sing if they can learn to keep time.
Really? Okay. I think that's got some truth in it. But I know that some people, I have taught some people that couldn't sing. They couldn't pitch. I know. So this is where the theory of that, there's another side to it, isn't there? So I've taught a number of students, probably, on one hand, that I'll play a note and I'll go, and they can't hear that. And I don't know whether it's nerves, whether they just can't hear, or whether they just are too nervous and they get confused of where it is. But I've proved to myself that eventually, if you take it really slow with them, and then you can get there. But there are some people have some blocks and they can't hear pitch. So that's my thing is about the pitch. Now, the thing about the timing, there are some people too that drop beats when they sing, or they add notes, and I know I've known a couple of people like that. However, really not that many, to be honest, not that many. Most people I have come into contact with in my life, everybody can sing, and I think you can teach people to sing, um, but it takes a long time. I mean, there might be the odd few that are just you can't get through to them, or they're totally blocked.
Mhm.
But most people I find can sing. Yeah.
So
But the
this has
thing
been,
about
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I was just saying, the thing about the time is, it's a worry when you listen to people and they drop the beats and they can't, hear that they've done that. You know. But so it's either can't tune and have good time, or okay time, no, okay tuning and not good time. Do you know what I mean? And the other way around, okay time and not good tuning. And it usually seems to be one or the other. Very few have both. That's what I've come across.
Okay, well, I mean, it's my theory. I've never really taught music to anybody, so um, I can say whatever I like. It's my show. But Anita, we are near the end of the program, and this has been wonderful.
Oh, thank
I
you
miss,
so much. I've had a ball,
I miss you.
really.
So we can do it again.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
miss you
great.
so much. You are okay. I mean, okay. You've studied tons, and you
Yes.
are incredibly and exceptionally gifted. But
Oh,
the best thing about you is that you are an incredible human being, and
thank you. Thank
and
you so much.
you are just a shining example of somebody who's highly successful, incredible at what they're doing. But it's somewhere, somebody has to say to your parents
Mhm.
what an incredible job they did on you, because you are such a wonderful human being. And when you sing, your music reflects that.
That's beautiful of you to say, because
I
I
mean,
feel,
you could change my life. I'm going to say with the wave of your hand, but like in an hour and a half. And it wasn't only because you're such a good internal specialist when it comes to music, but you really cared. Here's this guy you never met before. Alan sent this schmuck
yeah.
of a scientist over who wants to be a jazz singer. But you really,
That's
and you
not
really, and I came away and I said, wow, for the first time, I
I
got what I
remember.
wanted. I got a diagnosis, not all kinds of exercises of how to sing, but how to how to fix what needs fixing.
Hmm. Well, I mean, honestly, I try my in my heart, everyone that I teach, I want them to sound good, and I want them to enjoy the process of singing, and that's what I believe every time I teach people. I want them to have a good time, and I want them to feel that they can do it. That's the thing. I reckon that's the key. I try to take myself out of the equation. It's not always easy.
So you haven't the show begins with the jingle
Yeah.
and it ends with the Beatles, and you have chosen out of their repertoire of over 200 songs my personal favorite,
Wow.
and you didn't even know that.
I didn't.
And I don't know why we love this song. What is so great about this song?
Don't know, just something beautiful about
So,
it.
so usually at the end of the show, I ask people to sing their favorite Beatles song for me,
Right.
and I know that you're going to now. And I don't care. I don't care
I
if
don't
you do it. I don't care if you do it a cappella, and
I don't know.
you can
I
leave
only
the
know.
intro out.
Oh, I don't think I can do it, Mel, because I don't really know what goes after the first bit.
Okay, I'll help you here.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not 100%. I mean, I don't know really where I'm going with it, because I've never worked on it. So
Yeah, so
I've got
this is the opportunity to be really improvisational. It's the
I
end
could
of
do
the show.
I could
Nobody's
do
listening. I can turn the record off. It's just you and me.
Oh,
And I'm
no,
challenging you now to sing a song you don't know. But you picked it out of all the Beatles songs that you love.
mm. Is it tell me what was it? How does it go again? I'll sing a little bit of it if you
Here,
if you
look.
show me. Right.
Here making each day of the year.
Of the year. Now where?
I'll play the piano slowly and you can sing.
You'll have to sing me the line because I don't know it really. I
You
only
can
just know it by listening.
you can make up your words. Here,
Making
each
each
day
day
of the
of
year,
the year. Now where?
changing my
Da, da,
life.
da, with the touch of his
Your
hand.
hand,
Yeah. Then what? Sorry.
nobody can.
Nobody can deny.
There's something.
There's something thing there. Or something like that. I don't know the rest. No, I'm better at going. Something in the
There,
way he moves
running his
attracts
mouth.
me like no other lover. That one, yeah. Something in the way he grooves me. I don't want to leave him now. You know I believe and how. La da 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 da. That's it. That's the Beatles you'll get from me.
Oh,
Thank
and
you.
I forgot to turn off the record.
Oh well, that's a shame.
No, I mean I forgot to turn it off. No, so it was incredible seeing you and hearing all these things about your life that I didn't know. And
Oh,
I can't wait to take more of your courses, but in person.
oh, thank you so much, Mel, and thank you for being just so lovely and inviting me on your show. I'm so honored to be able to
Kidding?
talk.
You're one of
Thank
the main people in my adult life, dear.
Oh,
I
thank you.
love music so much.
I know you do, and you're really good. I mean, can't believe how great you are on the piano. Really.
It's when you have a show, you can interview me.
All right,
But
you're on.
I will tell you one story. So I
Well, then,
always played piano, but I couldn't accompany myself.
right.
And what I would do is I would take the charts to whenever I appeared.
Mm,
And a friend of mine, the wonderful saxophone player and composer, Shlomi Goldenberg, Dr. Shlomi Goldenberg,
yeah,
he said to me, "You're an asshole. You have to learn 30 or 40 standards off by heart in your key.
yeah,
So that you can go to a show without these reams of papers, which fall all over the place,
yeah,
and then you'll be able to cut loose. You can play it as a saxophonist if you want to,
yeah,
but you can do a show with the piano. Just learn things off by heart." And I said, "Oh no, no! How do you learn all those chord changes off by heart?" He said, "Well, one song at a time."
yeah, right.
So
Absolutely.
because of Shlomi, I learned 30 or 40 standards in my key. And you have noticed that you pointed out that my singing suffers because your mind can't be in two places at once. But
Mm,
I can today, at least I can accompany myself if I don't want to hire a pianist.
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. I know it's hard. It really is hard to do both. But I think if you just keep doing it, you're gonna get it. You
Yeah, no,
know?
I got it. I can do it now.
Yeah, of
I
course.
mean, you can always improve, and I suppose if I had time to practice, but
Yeah,
I also want to be a children's book writer while I'm alive.
yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
But music is wonderful. Anita, listen, this has been so
Thank
miraculous for me.
you so much for having me.
And when are you going to be back in the UK, or you don't know?
I don't know because of the COVID thing, and meanwhile, I'm just going to keep studying and practicing, and just kind of keep working on my craft. And hopefully, that when I do get a chance to go back to the UK, I'll be really ready to get on the stage with the guys and have a good gig, which would be great.
And I'll be there in the audience saying, "That's my teacher. That's my teacher."
I'm doing an online gig in not this Monday coming, but EDT, which is New York time, right? 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. on if you go onto Facebook on my Facebook page, there's a Zoom thing happening, and I'm doing a concert 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Sunday the 24th of January, 6 p.m. New York time. Then there's
Okay,
a
but
jam session.
Anita, put the link underneath this interview so people can
Okay.
access.
How do I do that? Just put it on the chat now.
You can no, not in the chat now. After we finish,
Oh
go into
yes.
my what's it called, and just in the
Yeah.
comments.
Okay, I will.
You can write, "Wow, Mel, what a wonderful interviewee you had today."
Yeah,
And that would be
yeah,
a little bit too much.
yeah.
Where'd you find that great singer? No, but you're right. Here's the link where you can join my program,
Yeah.
and I sure will.
Yeah. Okay, well that'll be brilliant.
This
And
is the longest interview in the history of 90 interviews. I don't want to leave you, but big kiss and big hug.
big
Take
kiss and a,
care.
did you get our emails? We sent you emails about the
Yes,
courses.
I did. Yes, wonderful.
Excellent. Well, we'll see you online soon. Thank you, Mel. Lots of love and happy new year, and to all your listeners
You
out there.
too, dear.
And talk to you soon.
And good health to your dad and the family.
Thank you so much. You have a beautiful day. Okay.
You too,
See you,
dear.
everybody, in Tel Aviv.
Bye.
Bye.